headlines are this morning. And I have with me in the studio to do justice to this social commentator, Shijibumi Adebi Bennett. And we also have our in-house analyst, Obani Akinwale. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It's nice to see you both. All right, let's begin from the Guardian newspaper. That's where we start from this morning. And Guardian is focusing on Osinbajo. The fight back begins. And I will waive immunity to clear my name, says the vice president, and vows to prosecute Frank Ononuju for peddling falsehood. The media house retracts story on alleged corruption, and lawyers differ over renunciation of legal protection. Okay, this is what the Guardian is carrying this morning. From the Guardian, let's go to the Daily Trust. 90 billion naira allegation. I'll waive immunity to clear my name, Osinbajo. We're not probing vice president. The EFCC is saying this, and the lawyers are divided over this as well. Okay, that's what the Daily Trust has. And let's go to Blueprint now. Buhari submits 9.12 trillion naira 2020 budget to National Assembly. That is what the Blueprint is reporting. And 2.28 trillion naira as aggregate fiscal deficit, and to borrow 1.7 trillion naira. And jinx on PIB will be broken before 2020, as the Senate is revealing this. Okay, from the Blueprint, let's go to Daily Sun. And it's focusing on alleging existence of 1,197 illegal entry points. Senators reject border closure, say Nigerians suffering and prices of goods skyrocketing. Okay. All right, that's what you see on the Daily Sun. Senators reject border closure. Okay, from there, let's go to Nigerian News Direct. The News Direct says alleged 90 billion naira FIRS campaign fund. Osinbajo vows to waive immunity for probe to sue Timi Frank, two others. Allegation is defamatory, employed to tarnish Osinbajo's reputation. Falana is saying this. Okay, that's what you see on the News Direct. Now, the Vanguard is the last paper for this time, and is focusing on resurging insecurity. ISWAP beheads aid worker, blames action on federal government. It threatens to kill the 5 remaining kidnapped aid workers. A leader of Bayelsa butchers assassinated in Yenagoa as kidnappers fire at Abuja-bound car in Kogi, kill all occupants. An ASP among deceased, Kogi CP saying this. All right. Okay, really disturbing situation there. All right, let's, gentlemen, let's go to this issue. In fact, social media has been awash with these allegations against the vice president and the vice president's reaction, and lawyers being divided as to can the vice president actually waive his immunity as granted by the Constitution? Yes, he can. Some lawyers say, no, he cannot. The Constitution is sacrosanct, and so on and so forth. Obani, I'd like to start with you on this. What do you make of this whole issue?
I'm afraid there are two professions that, if we are not careful, will destroy this country. Your profession, journalism, and legal system.
Well, we hope not.
That's why I'm saying I hope they will not set this country on fire. In those days, for you to become a son, I remember Femi Falana was senior advocate of masses for a couple of years before he was awarded the rank of son. And may I see you as a lawyer give some level of credence or credibility of your capacity, intellectual, and ability to judge things right. Again, journalism, mere watching you on the screen or seeing you write editorials, give us a good impression of what the site supposedly supposed to be the 4 theses of frame to speak for the voiceless. But unfortunately, what we have these days is what they call caricature journalism. You could not imagine a newspaper of the magnitude of Vanguard newspaper writing such malicious story against the office of a vice president. One, you have access to the vice presidency, you have access to information, you have right to verify information before publishing them. But because of the fanfare of the social media jumping to break news that are not breaking, they have gone to publicize, to publish what is not. And now they have to recount just 2 days after. You recall the issue of AIT and Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the issue of liar of body loan. So I keep asking myself, is this what journalism is all about? And in the legal system as well, you find out that the upside down stuffs that we have, look at the article appeal, see what a son wrote, and you look at all those grounds for appeal. You begin to ask yourself, is this what will Rotimi Jacob, will TOS Benson of this world be happy? Will Adeto Kumbademola of this world be happy? Seeing what we have, Fanekayo, they be happy seeing what we have turned legal system into. Even with Femi Falana will be happy that when we are clamoring to become son or to become lawyer, this is what they clamor for. Then in journalism, I keep saying it, either the NGE or the NUJ needs to review what makes somebody a journalist. And again, the NPAN needs to reappraise their members as well as bond. Because you find out that if care is not taken, this country will be set on fire by these two professions. And it's becoming a recurrence. So what I would say invariably is that I'm totally disappointed in what the journalism is doing at the moment. We just turned it to a KB Super, if you remember. That's what major news airline has turned to these days. it's so disheartening.
He came a super of the I think 80s and 90s, yes, and all of that. Yes. But very, very seriously, this issue against the drama, let me call it the drama, because everything is turning out to be really a drama. What do you make of it?
Yes, I think I've said it on this platform before, that when news emanates from Nigeria, don't be the first to react. It's very, very dangerous, unless you know the source of the news. So don't just react or put out a response, because it can really mess you up. Now, he has touched on the media and the judiciary. Profession. And very often here too, I've been able to stylishly talk about all these things without really, trying to derogate or, just undermine the professions. Because the last time we were talking about why my only upset about all the cases was the fact that I am not a lawyer, because I will also be making some cheap, quick money. Now, I want to talk about personalities, because we've dealt with the professions. I think when we have finished with elections, people should move on. There are no elections again. During the elections, we had stories of, it was from both parties. Someone has bought a major bank. Someone has turned a village to Dubai. So many stories. Someone's account was fixed or was freezed or frozen, as the case may be. So after that phase, we thought sanity will be back into the
politics is gone. Now let's govern.
But do you understand that after that time, we had a situation whereby two individuals could have, like the words you set this country on fire, because there was a tweet in the morning, like this time, that the CJ Hen house was under siege. And what you see, in a country like Nigeria, whereby everything is facing from the prism of tribalism and all that, what do you think that could have done? Now, people are saying again, there have been so many things about Oshibajo and all that, which is okay if you can substantiate it. But this recent one, I don't think those people are, in their statements, not their character, they're becoming very responsible. And it's very, very important that we see this case to a logical conclusion. When people start paying for what they've done that is not right, then other people can sit up, not just say it, nothing will happen, and we'll move on.
All right, we hear there are moves by the vice president to sue the persons who are said to be peddling the falsehood and unsubstantiated allegations and all of that. Now, what do you make of that as well? Yeah, that's a test. I think
that is good.
If that goes through.
I think that is good from the vice president himself, being a lawyer himself, to put things in perspective and to put things right. But nevertheless, I think it's high time that media begin to know who and who should be given platforms. There is social media now, so if the man decided to say whatever he likes, let him go and use his own platform. Not to use your own platform to create unnecessary tension. And again, like he mentioned, everything that is happening to Oshibajo, either we like it or not, is tied down to a perception that there is tendency he comes out as another star boy in 2023. So people are already waging war, and most times the wars are not only going to come from far away. It's going to come from your backyard. So Timmy Frank is part of APC. Was actually even the deputy national vice chairman of APC before he left. So for him saying all those things, there is no smoke. There is no smoke without. There is no fire without smoke. So we understand that he may have some informations, but media houses needs to ensure they get yellows. And again, I'm begging the office of vice presidency, for once, let's do something right in this country. If they can follow this case to a logical conclusion, like the case of Bola Tinubu and AIT, I am very sure most media houses will ensure that they are. I know most time when you finish, you said the whatever of the guests are theirs and no opinion of TVC.
Course.
But notwithstanding, platform needs to know who and who use their platform to peddle whatever information they need to peddle. And I'm very glad that is happening.
Okay, certainly disclaimers are there so everyone knows what to direct what to at whatever point. Thank you very much, Obani Akinwale, for coming on the program. Thank you. Shidibami, thank you so much for coming as well.
The pleasure is mine.
Right.
I have with me in the studio a lecturer at the University of Lagos, Dr. Dan Ekere, and our in-house analyst, Obani Akinwale. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you. Pleasure.
All right, let's head straight to the papers now, and we begin with The Guardian. Osinbajo, the fight back begins. I will waive immunity to clear my name, says Vice President. Vows to prosecute Frank Ononuju for peddling falsehood. Media house retracts story on alleged corruption. Lawyers differ over renunciation of legal protection. And to the front page of the Daily Trust, 90 billion naira allegation. I'll waive immunity to clear my name, Osinbajo. We are not probing Vice President. EFCC lawyers divided. Blueprint. Buhari submits 9.12 trillion naira 2020 budget to NAS, 2.28 trillion naira as aggregate fiscal deficit. To borrow 1.7 trillion naira, jinx on PIB will be broken before 2020 Senate. And on the front page of the Daily Sun, alleging existence of 1,197 illegal entry points, senators reject border closure, says Nigerians suffering. Prices of goods skyrocketing. We'll be looking at that story shortly. And to the front page of the Daily Times. Federal government's land border closure divides Senate. Actions will rectify effect of smuggling of products on Nigeria's economy. Alieru, shutdown of borders has affected prices of foodstuff. Other services, says Abaribe. To Nigeria News Direct now, alleged 90 billion naira FIRS campaign fund. Osinbajo vows to waive immunity for probe to sue Timmy Frank, 20 others. Allegation is defamatory, ploy to tarnish Osinbajo's reputation. Falana. And finally, on the front page of the Vanguard, resurging insecurity is what beheads aid worker. Blames action on federal government. Threatens to kill the 5 remaining kidnapped aid workers. Leader of Bayelsa Butchers assassinated in Yenagoa as kidnappers fire at Abuja-bound car in Kogi kill all occupants. ASP among deceased, Kogi CP. A really sad story there. But then we'll be looking at this story, gentlemen, on the front page of the Daily Sun and also on the front page of another paper this morning. That's the Daily Times, talking about the closure of the land borders. And the Senate is alleging that the existence of 1,197 illegal entry points. And that is why some persons are saying that this land, the closure of the borders is not necessarily checking activities of smugglers or as the government intends for it to do. I'll start with you, Dr. Kerry.
Well, thank you, Veronica. I think that for me, it's a good step.
Is it?
Yeah, it is a good step. Because the borders have become, very challenging points to Nigerian economy. You discover that much. As a matter of fact, the closure of the border did not say people should not move. You see, but when you keep on bringing goods through these borders, why not bring them through our ports? Because we eventually imported them to somewhere else before
But the
bringing them.
bureaucracy around the ports bringing our goods,
The effort
some are perishable, some, you know
exactly.
how it is.
So our effort should be geared towards addressing the bureaucracy.
Shouldn't we do that before the closure?
Exactly, it's part of it. Now, there are two ways. Either you do it before the closure or you keep on, you know, bringing whatever through these ports and this thing suffer. Nobody addresses it. Those who should fight to do it are the ones who are coming through other routes. You know, avoiding what should be done and finding alternatives is not a solution to what ought to be done. So the same people who are coming through these borders are the ones who will actually raise the issue and fight that cause for the issues of bureaucracy and the rest to be addressed. So the moment they leave it and go to other places, then obviously that will be left alone. Now, you are talking about several, you know, entry points, illegal.
Over 1,000.
So I'm expecting that the closure of these borders should equally include monitoring those points you are talking about. Because if the idea is just to be in the main borders, leaving those points that we already know, because they've already mentioned the number, it means that they are known. So the closure should include all of them, because we are losing a lot of revenues.
Do we have the capacity? Because that's another challenge.
A little, to some extent, we have what it takes to monitor some of these borders. It's just that we have not been committed to it. And when you look at how porous our borders have been, each day you hear of seizure of one, you know, kind of thing that is poisonous or the other into this country through these borders. So if they were genuine things, bring them through our ports. Let's go through the normal process. Let's know that what you are bringing in is genuine. And again, it's equally affecting our economy in terms of our farmers and the rest of the... Because some of these things they are bringing are things that we actually can produce here. You bring them from places... Yeah, some of them.
So, but have we been able to meet up with
so we should actually encourage the production
These are
of
the
these
issues, Nii.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this issue? Because even ECOWAS is raising concerns that the ECOWAS protocol is being challenged here, where there is call for free movement and free trade. We also signed the African Free Trade Agreement recently. So all of this seems to be compounding issues.
I'm happy that ECOWAS, they are coming out to say Nigeria closing of border is affecting the free movement of people. But I can't recollect ECOWAS frowning at sacking of a Nigerian professor in Ghana. I can't recollect ECOWAS frowning at the illegal importation of fish from Baga. It's so saddening that our National Assembly seems to bother themselves with things that are not important rather than focusing on things that are very, very important. And I'm happy that our National Assembly is part of the problem of the system.
This issue is not important because a majority of Nigerians are crying at the prices, at the hiking prices.
Yes, because our National Assembly have identified 1,000 plus illegal entry points. I think what we should emphasize on is how do we check these 1,000 illegal points? Ask yourself, in the few days, what is the ratio of the local rice? Yes, we all agree that we don't have self-sufficiency, but are farmers happy? Are farmers happy? Are we getting more goods through our normal route, the ports? So is Nigeria HGR going to increase? Is Nigeria going to enjoy the system? Absolutely yes. And this is what we're saying. I'm not so shocked with our crop of senators. If they are going
because they are divided over this issue.
No. If they are going for SUV Prado Jeeps in the place of Innocent, so you shouldn't be surprised that eating ofada or local rice or lake rice or what
it's a challenge for them.
Or Costa Rica rice will be a problem because they're already used to Thailand or Russia parboiled rice. So it shows us that they want us to buy Nigeria, eat Nigeria, but the senators are not too comfortable, they themselves, to eat Nigeria. And again, if you say that we don't have self-sufficiency, what stops our National Assembly in reducing their budget to half? And has the government to pump the remaining half back to the economy? Will it be too much for our senators to subsidize their constituents? So all these things they are just putting on, is because it's difficult for them now to see the normal parboiled rice, to see the normal thing with it, because most of these small good things, let me tell you, it cannot be, it all happens with the cartels, the powerful people. So, and either we like it or not. Are you
saying that the grounds they are raising is not about the people?
It is
about
parochial, it is personal, it is self-serving, it is not for the masses. Because if a farmer in Nasarawa has 25 hectares of farm and is aware that there is a market that will consume all those farms, he will employ more Nigeria. He will expand his agri farm. But in the case whereby National Assembly are saying, open the border, they will continue to have influx of...
So how do we take advantage of this for the farmers now?
Yeah, we should actually, to start with, I think the National Assembly need to be more focused. We need to look at the things objectively. What is it meant to achieve should be, a primary focus. The idea is to ensure that, we make our system more effective, make our ports more active, and the rest of it. And that will mean generation of more income. Now, we need to look at it from this point that our farmers need to be encouraged. And in doing that, we need to pump more money into agriculture because it's about food sufficiency we are talking about.
Absolutely.
Now, I even expect that the National Assembly should even create a window to assisting these people we are talking about. Since we are talking about closure of border, okay, what do? We have this, we have that. Let's put this into this area.
Okay.
Let's see both policies and resources to see how we can assist the agribusiness in order for us to have more. Since we are not going to, and as a matter of fact, in terms of health, the one we are producing here will actually benefit us more than the ones we are importing.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ekere, for your time. Thank you, Mr. Obani Akinwale, for your time on the newspaper review this morning.
Let's get into the headlines now, see what the papers are saying in Nigeria. I have in the studio with me from the University of Lagos, Dr. Dan Ekere, as well as our in-house analyst, Obani Akinwale. Gentlemen, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Yeah,
right. Let's begin with the Vanguard newspaper now. Vanguard says it focuses on Osinbajo. The fight back begins. And I will waive immunity to clear my name, says the vice president, and vows to prosecute Frank Ononuju for peddling falsehood. Media house retracts story on alleged corruption, and the lawyers differ over renunciation of legal protection. Okay, that's what the Vanguard has. Let's go to Daily Trust now. Daily Trust talks about the same thing, and it focuses on the 90 billion naira allegation. I'll waive immunity to clear my name. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is saying this, and we're not probing Vice President. EFCC is saying this, and lawyers are divided over this. From there, let's go to the Blueprint now. And Blueprint says Buhari submits 9.12 trillion naira 2020 budget to National Assembly. 2.28 trillion naira as aggregate fiscal deficit to borrow 1.7 trillion naira. And jinx on PIB will be broken before 2020. The Senate is revealing this. I guess we'll talk about this shortly with my analysts in the studio as people are more concerned with the issue of budget performance. Now, Daily Times is where we go next now, and it says federal government's land borders closure divides Senate, and actions will rectify effects of smuggling of products on Nigeria's economy. And then Alero is saying this, and shutdown of borders has affected price of foodstuff, other services, says Abaribe. Okay. From there, let's go to the Nigerian News Direct. News Direct talks about the alleged 90 billion naira FIRS campaign fund. Osinbajo vows to waive immunity for probe to sue Timi Frank and two others. Allegation is defamatory, ploy to tarnish Osinbajo's reputation. Falano is reported to have said this. Okay, Daily Sun is where we go next. And talking about the alleging existence of 1,197 illegal entry points. Senators reject border closure. Say Nigerians are suffering. Prices of goods skyrocketing. Okay, that's still reactions from here and there on the Daily Sun. Vanguard is our next paper now. And Vanguard is talking about the resurging insecurity. ISWAP beheads aid worker, blames action on the federal government. It threatens to kill the 5 remaining kidnapped aid workers. A leader of Bayelsa butchers assassinated in Yenagua. And as kidnappers fire at Abuja-bound car in Kogi, kill all occupants. ASP among deceased. Kogi CP is revealing this very disturbing situation there from across the country. All right, gentlemen, I'd like us to go to the story on the Blueprint, which talks about the 2020 budget. It's really of concern to so many Nigerians. Now, some analysts have said that the technicalities, the bureaucracy, the formality, the administration that goes into putting the budget together, translating it to the National Assembly, the process of passing it and all of that, that activity seemed to be the focus instead of the actual performance of how 10 billion translated to the road, how 2 million are translated to the drugs in the hospital and all of that. Dr. Ekere, let me start with you on this.
Yeah, Mike, the challenge really is that both those, the ones who are supposed to execute the budget and those who are to, oversight, who have the power of oversight over them, are all guilty of the same offense. Because it's the same budget that we're talking about. The budget affects both the legislature, the executive, and in fact, the entire country.
The entire country.
Yeah. On their own part, we have not even had anything about budget performance on their part, because there is a budgetary allocation to that aspect, so we don't get to know much. I think it equally affects their own supervisory role over the other issues. Over time, we keep on talking about, budgetary allocations for various segments. How these things perform has not been a major focus. Then, the few that we've heard of with respect to performance have always been in the negative. We've not had any budget performance up to 75%. So I keep wondering, what is the essence of this budgeting something of a thing? If the idea, because my thinking was that for as long as this thing has been signed, it becomes a law of a kind, such that violations could be visited with some penalty. But you find out that sometimes there is flagrant, abuses of this process. So at the end of the day, you have difficulty with proper, implementation of this budget. Nobody has been called to book for violating any of it. Sometimes we've even heard of, monies being moved from one area that it was supposed to be to others. And all of these things happen. Now, who should be responsible for this? I think if we have proper supervision from day one, and if the supervision was actually well attended, I want to believe that we'll be able to get to a level of some positive.
So who monitors the monitor?
Yes.
That's the issue. Obani, the issue of budget performance has been on the minds of a lot of Nigerians, the ones on the streets. Although that technicalities, the medium-term expenditure framework, whatever it is called, the budget translation, the cycle from January to December, the man on the street doesn't want to know all of those things. All he wants to see is light in his home, hospitals are working, education is there, the roads are good, and so on. So how can we talk about the inclusiveness of that man on the street and for him benefiting from the budget?
Yeah, the first thing we need to do is generally, either you like it or not, the only budget implemented that we have that is 100% in this country, 1990 today, is the budget for the National Assembly allowances, cars and what have you, and executive. Every other thing for commoners, the roads, the electricity will not come to play. The only moment we begin to have the national budget being performance 80 or 70 or thereabout is the moment we begin to place public office holders on salary scale. Because you find out that if there is all these amenities served on them a la carte, and you have access to a lot of things that the normal citizens don't have. So you care less of how they feel. Now somebody is living 4 years, he's going to get a house, he's going to come another 4 years again, he's going to get a house, get a car, get 8 and what have you, get them serviced. So the only time they seem to be concerned is the moment they themselves are directly affected. And the only way they can be affected is that placed the Senate president on the salary of a VC of a university. Now, is we conscious if there is no light in that environment, it will be, but the way they are saying El Dorado. You have the minister hills in Abuja, you have the senators, quarters in Akwa, and what have you. So they do not feel what the commoners feel on the field. Until we do that, until we make our Senate or our National Assembly a part-time job, or until we begin to put people that have other means of survival as in our parliament, in our executive positions, we'll begin to get what we are getting. And if we make political offices to be too enticing with a lot of stuff, either we like it or not. Even to the councillor, once somebody becomes a councillor in a local government in Nigeria, the next thing you see is driving Prado. So you begin to ask yourself, is it worth it to go and do PhD or whatever when you if you become a councillor in 6 months, you're on the road driving big ball, you are in a very comfortable. So let's start from there and place all our public office holder on the same scale as an higher authority or average Nigerian civil servant. You will see that the budget will perform very well. Otherwise, we're just jokers.
All right. There's so much to be done in a country like Nigeria where there are so many differing ideas and concepts and so many ingredients go into thinking of anything national because there are so many sections and so many interests. Thank you very much. We have to leave you here now. Obani Akinwale, thank you very much. And Dr. Danekere, thank you for coming as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right.